This is yet another edition of Civic Education with Dr. Joseph Tumo Galode Gbaba. Uncle Joe, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And how are you all doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent. We are glad to be here to discuss civic education because what we want for Liberia is an informed, educated citizenry in order that will be able to make those kind of decisions that we want. So I'm so thrilled to be here.
This is so very patriotic of you and all of those who are out there supporting this cause, because this is the only way we will be able to retain our status as Africa's oldest. And you know, it's like a family. The African family is a huge family. And out of that African family, we in Ethiopia are the most senior of the sisters or brothers, if you want to call it that way. And because of that, we have special blessings from God, from Almighty God, as a nation and people. And I'm glad that we'll be talking about I want to briefly brush on dispensation of justice based on collective guilt, because we're going to be having an election. The people that are going to vote, they're not going to be voting for any ethnic group. They're going to be voting for the Republic of Liberia. And so those people will be vetted, and when they are elected, they stand as national leaders of the country. If they do anything that is unlawful, that is not right, they should be held accountable for the consequences of their actions, and not the ethnic group that they belong to, not the family that they come from. Each individual is answerable under the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia for your actions. Do not take your someone's actions, bad actions that have affected the nation, and put it on an entire ethnic group, innocent people who don't know anything about what John Peter or Moses Kekwele is doing. Right. So the dispensation of justice based on collective guilt is unconstitutional. And tonight we're talking about civic education, and you cannot talk about civic education without recognizing and respecting the constitution of the land that governs all of us. And that's what we are going to go by. And that's what we're going to be entertaining and educating you on your roles as citizens, and also the role of the government with respect to its citizens, so forth.
That's the voice of Dr. Joe Gbaba. We want to welcome all of you across the globe to our series on civic education with Dr. Joe Gbaba. This is the Deconti Artists Inc. in collaboration with Focus on Liberia has embarked on a program to bring you civic education for an entire month as we prepare to have elections 2020 in December, and also the referendum. We at Focus on Liberia and Deconti Artists resolved that before any major event occur in Liberia, it is very important that we prepare the citizenry so that they will take an informed decision. That's why we are here. So this is part 3 of the show. Last week, our topic was on the dispensation of justice based on collective guilt. And we're going to brush through that quickly before we start our topic today. For today, we're going to be discussing civic education as, you know, a program. And under that, we're going to be talking about the Constitution, the rule of law, franchise, the right to vote. What is a platform? What does concession or to concede? If time permits, we're going to go into protest, we're going to go into contest, and also riots. All these, they are very important for us to understand them and for us to teach our citizens so that they know and they'll be able to make an informed decision. If somebody come to you running for senator and say, I'm going to build your road, you are able to look in your constitution. I have a copy here. And in the Constitution, it says what the roles and responsibility of a senator are. What are the responsibility of a legislator? So if they are coming and say, I will build you a hospital, you say, wait a minute, is that what you're supposed to be doing? You can only know that through civic education. Dr. Baba, we are glad to have you. Let's quickly brush up where we left up last time. That is the collective guild. When Dennis Jar does something and you know Dennis Jar is from Fisibu, then you take all the people from Fisibu responsible. Or if you're from Glay in Niba County, you take all the people from Glay or everybody in Niba, you say they are responsible for Dennis Jar's action. Dr. Baba, let's go into that. That's not justice.
What I want to encourage all Liberians. I want to encourage all Liberians to understand that as citizens of the Republic of Liberia, you have the right to stand up for justice. You have the right to speak out for whatever you want in your country. It's your country. It's your home. This is why we are advocating that those who are citizens of other nations outside of Liberia, that dual citizenship be encouraged because they've had children. And our children have had children. We got grandchildren, great-grandchildren, everybody here. And we are one family. So we are not going to permit politicians to divide us. Because I live in the United States doesn't mean that I don't originate from Grand Juliet County. America, you also say Liberia, I said now, what I'm saying is that as a Liberian, and the language that I'm speaking, I wasn't speaking English, I was speaking Kram, to let you know that when I'm in Spain, in China, wherever I am, I'm a Kram man, Kram Liberian American. So I want everybody to understand that, and that's how every other Liberian should stand up. Don't let anybody come bulldoze you and tell you that you cannot be who you are in your country. No way. Correct. You see? So that's very important. Then the issue about the collective guilt thing, I went through it. And I'm a typical example and a victim of collective guilt. It was just by the grace of God and because of the way how I live with people that got me sitting here before you and sharing my idea and knowledge with you. Other than that, I would have been killed doing that nonsense that went on for nothing, that nothing has come out of. Because I was supposed to be crime man. But when you look in the door government, he was crime man. He had a government, you look in his government, the Sandoro Bella, the Gonga, the Bolaso Tour, the this and that. Are those crime people? And is that part of the Constitution? No, it's not. And they did that to other ethnic groups. Mano, Gio, Mandingo, Congo, everybody they did it to. That should not be done. It's the responsibility of the government to educate people on this. It's time for people who are supposed to be in the media area of government to provide. That's what we got a mass media for. That's what we got here BC, we got here TV.
But Dr. Baba,
this thing is supposed to be on here TV and on here BC.
Dr. Baba, these things don't just start as a full-blown war like we saw in 1990, or we saw when people from Nimba County were being targeted, or we saw when Mandingo people were being targeted, or Crown people were being targeted. These things don't just start right away. They start very small.
Yes.
How can we recognize that and just nip it in the bud right away?
Man, you know, that's one thing about you, Dennis John. You're a very wise young man. And I'm not surprised that you come from the East. The question you ask is a very good question. Because in the first place, Liberians should understand that when you've had the kind of genocide that we had, that the people that perpetrated the genocide, they're scared when you even tell them say that genocide. They want to live, they want to deny it because they want to call it civil war. You don't want no civil war. Who told you that people fight civil war? You go from house to house looking for for specific ethnic group in the Civil War. They were connived with BBC and VOA and all the people in the Western world to kind of decrease the atrocities they committed in Liberia to term it as civil war. It wasn't a civil war, it was a genocide because the people specifically came to kill certain people. And they went from town to town, from village to village, from house to house. And they did it. It must be admitted. It's a shame that even the United Nations will classify what happened in Liberia as a civil war and classify the one that happened in Rwanda as genocide. What's the difference? How many people die in Rwanda and how many people die in Liberia? I say Black lives don't matter. And this specifically also, I'm speaking to the United Nations. They perform very poorly with respect to conflict resolution. When you get in the country and there's conflict in the country, ask for the experts that know about the history and culture of the people to let you know what the issues are. They depend on these rebel leaders to lie to them, and they were just looking for jobs. When they got the jobs, that was it. The conflict not resolved, here we are. Every day, everybody say, like a confused village of people.
Okay, let's come back to the question. Today, we're going to be starting with civic education, and we'll start with the Constitution.
Yeah, so let's do a little bit of civic education now, because all the things that I just said. First of all of you who are listening and watching the thing, yo. Yeah, you know that. Let me tell you, in Quran they say yo krava ni odro zonde jema. Interpretation
means if the elder is under the palm wine tree,
yeah,
the tool used to cut the palm wine can get missing because the elder was
and not just only that, about goodness, righteousness shall not be amiss. Okay? Because the elder underneath that palm wine tree, under the palm wine tree, that's why our elders, our ancestors go to discuss the real juicy information among us in the village, you know, the history and all of that. That's why you drink it when you're drinking that little nice palm wine and your eyes are getting yellow and all that kind of thing. All the thoughts start coming.
You're making me hungry. Let's go to the Constitution.
No, wait a minute. You got to understand civic education now. Let's get it straight. Okay? We started with civic education. You know, the name of the show is civic education.
Right. So let's start with that because Constitution fall under civic education. So let's start with the broad one.
I want people to listen to what it is, because I got some very good notes here that I will explain. I want people to first of all listen to what is civic education. Okay? It says it's the study of the theoretical, practical, and political sides of being a citizen and the roles, responsibilities, and rights that come along with it. Now, let me explain that, because first of all, that's where you get all of the meat of the discussion. It tells you that it talks about the theoretical as well as the practical and the political. Now, those three aspects are very important. First, when it comes to the practical, the theoretical basis upon which Liberia was established, and even they got it. The West Side said got political, got practical, but they also got the religious, you know, aspect of this. So let's take the theoretical. The theoretical aspect of the formation of the Republic of Liberia is hinged on the concept of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism. Why? Because religiously and based on our traditional history, Liberia was carved by God to be the Israel of the black race. So being the Israel of the black race means that we must embrace Pan-Africanism. That's why in Liberia, every black man of color, and based on the Constitution, the founding fathers of the Republic of Liberia made it clear that it was a place for only Negro, people of Negro descent. That coincides with the traditional indigenous people when they left from the east to trek westward to what is now Liberia in search of the promised land that of course we were going to all be together.
Dr. Baba, before you continue, is it part of a legend or is it part of history when you said they were in search of a promised land?
I like the word that you use because you used an appropriate diction. You said legend. Legend is a classical story. It's stately. It helps to give you the spirit of the origin of a tribe, an ethnic group, a nation, or people. So in every traditional Liberian language and ethnic group, we have legendary tales as to how our ancestors migrated from wherever they originated from to come to what is Liberia today. Okay, so now we're talking about civic education. So in the process of defining civic education, they told you about the theoretical aspect of it. So it's the theoretical aspect I've just given you, that theoretically Liberia is a home for all blacks, all free blacks, everybody. So and that's part of our constitution. It says so, and it spells out directly that somebody else who isn't Negro, not African, should not be citizen of the Republic of Liberia. That's the theoretical aspect of it. And you've seen that the theoretical aspect has been made practical by the fact that so many black people, you know, even in the early 20s with Marcus Garvey, then the Back to Africa thing, people from Jamaica, people from Barbados, all these people, you see, Liberia is a mixture of different black, you know, cultures from around the globe. So that's part of our theoretical background that we must all know when we're learning about Liberia. We must know that. That's the first thing. And then the name Liberia talks about the liberty that was bestowed upon our ancestors from the beginning of time up to this present. You know, free African American slaves coming back to Liberia to establish Liberia, that is called colonization. That's our own brothers and sisters that came right back home because they were there before they left, and when the king just came back. Came back with a change of the culture and all of that. So the civic education, then it spells out, it says that it's you got to know these different sides to be a citizen. As a Liberian citizen, you should know the theoretical background upon which Liberia was established. You know, as a Liberian citizen, you should know your responsibilities and your roles. As a citizen, you're not just a citizen, you get up in the morning, you live in Liberia, you get up in the morning, you look for food, you eat, you finish eating the food, you sit down. What are you contributing to the Liberian society as an individual? You don't sit down and fold your hands and say, oh, I'm waiting for Dr. Gbaba to put up a play or to promote Liberian culture. I said, you're not Liberian too. Right. You see what I'm talking about? So civic education, or should I say motivates you, you know, to realize that you must take a stand, you must do something. Right. It's a responsibility.
Because Dr. Gbaba, anytime we talk about being a citizen, we only talk about the rights. This is my right. But we often miss responsibilities and roles.
Yeah, the responsibilities are very important.
Yeah.
Why you think for the some more years now, for the 6 years or so, I've been promoting the history and culture of Liberia and spending my own money and all of that. It's a sense of responsibility as a citizen. Don't just talk. I see plenty of you talk, but you don't do. Development comes through doing. It comes through learning. Those who think that learning is a bad thing or whatever it is, you are misleading the children. You are misleading them. And it's unfortunate also that you interfered in their lives and disrupted their childhood. That you have not helped to fix. People make mistakes, we understand that. But where we are in Liberia, with respect to our civil rights and all those kinds of things, where we are right now is that Liberians are very fed up with people thinking that they alone own the country. It's not like that. Everybody cannot go and buy arms to come and fight war or whatever it is. So those who have violated the Constitution, the Constitution must be enforced. It must be enforced. That's part of the thing. So the responsibilities of the government towards the people, meaning that the government has to provide, listen to me, listen to the word I'm going to use, provide services. Services. Do we have clean drinking water so that we all safe? That responsibility of the government. Oh, I want my people to drink clean water so they can be safe. You got to provide it. If any appropriation is made for that, the appropriation must be used for its intended purpose. There must be accountability. So it's the responsibility of the citizens. It's your responsibility as citizens when people are not doing the things they're supposed to do and you're not seeing results. It's a responsibility to ask questions. And there are legal procedures that citizens are entitled to take. For action and all of that. That you don't have to go and buy guns like other people did.
Right.
No, but you can use a legal means. It's part of the democratic process. So that is very important. Then the other thing says that the civic education also, you talk about the civil law, the civic code. You know, the law now, you see they're coming to law. There's no way that you can live in a society without laws, even in your family.
Yeah.
In a family, your father said 6 o'clock is curfew. If you want to live in his home, especially in my home, if I say 6 o'clock, Bobo, I mean 6 o'clock. No go come. You go or you not go. Okay? So following the law is very, very important. It's very important so that the responsibility towards the government, the government's responsibility towards the citizen must be clear. It must be clear and it must be delivered. How are the hospitals? Are the hospitals great? What are people dying from? Are they dying from curable diseases? How does the government prioritize education and health and transportation? Are our educational systems up to par with other countries? You know, so the thing here about running a nation is that they have yardsticks. You know, they have measurements. It's not just, oh, I'm running the country. Oh, I'm doing well. No, it's not it. At the end of every fiscal year, when you want to list the number of things that you accomplished, and some of them will not just only be just building a road, but some of them will be things like health facilities, a good school system, food, you know, lunch and things for the children, if they've been malnourished, you know, all kinds of little activities. Now, the other aspect of it, because civil education says that the people have a right to be active in the decision-making process. They have the right to participate with the government, you know, to improve the country. So this is what I want to appeal to the government of Liberia. Most times what I see is that people are very protective of their jobs. Like for me, for instance, I would love to provide consultancy, to work along with the Minister of Education, to work along with the Minister of Information in my area of expertise, to provide projects and things that we can do together along with government support. And that's how it's supposed to be. Government is not supposed to be the enemy of the productive citizens in the country. You see the things that people like us that I do. You see it. And then you said you won't block it down and all of that. What is that? It's not helping the Liberian people. So that is important. We want cooperation between us and the government, whatever we can do. Like for instance, I'm doing what's that? Deputy Artist Kukatono Peace Project in Liberia, working with young Liberian youth, college students who are devoted to promoting peace and reconciliation. We want to hear about peace. We want to hear about reconciliation every day. So fast. That's not where I come from, or the home that I come from, and my home that I run. No fuss inside. No fuss. What we got to say to each other, we say it, and it's done, and we move on. No keeping grudge. Keeping grudge against your own brothers and sisters.
Right.
Everything that's fuss. That's unhealthy, you know, for this kind of thing. The education that I'm providing tells you that in order to do it, we must work together.
Right.
And then you see it talks about law. So the thing about law is very important. So if we even come to the Constitution, let's go to the Constitution.
Okay.
I'd like to ask you a question, young man. Is the Liberian Constitution, right now it's the 1986 Constitution, is it alive or not?
Yes, Constitution is alive. It's a living document.
Yeah, no, okay, I know it's a living document. But when I say alive, is the Constitution being respected in Liberia? Is it being applied? Are we following the Constitution, or are we doing our own thing? That's the question I'm asking.
Before we come to that, as to what it is, we want our audience to know what the Constitution is and why is it important.
Okay.
Let's go into that, and then we can turn to the current issues, if it is being applied or not.
Okay. Now to talk about Constitution, I gotta give you how should I put it? I gotta give you an analogy. Okay. To talk about the Constitution, I will talk about, or to talk about a state, because you know the derivation of a state began with the family. Okay, it began with the family, the father, the mother, the children, you know, like that. All right, and the children according to ages. The ages, the older, the more authority. The older, the more authority. The younger, you know, like that. In the home, based upon the structure we have in Liberia, you know, we can say the father is like the president of the home. Then the mother is the vice president. Then the older son, you know, who's able to join his part to brush the farm and all of that. Then he's like the minister of state. He goes up to the papa. He can help the papa so now to go see about his palm one when the papa not able to and all that kind of thing. So you see that kind of structure, that kind of relationship is what man developed gradually. So what happened that the family expanded, and then you have other families, then you have, you know, clans, etc., all of that. So there's always a need for somebody to be the leader that they can look to. Originally, before even the formation of monarchical form of government, the older people would have the council of elders. So they started like that. Then before eventually, because they used to fight wars and all those kinds of things, so they always wanted a leader that would be a warrior, a very strong person. So in that light, eventually most of the people who emerged as leaders became the kings, became the rulers and all of that. So you have this structure, but in whatever they did, because when 2 or 3 people are gathered together, there will always be individual differences. So the beginning of civilization started when man began to live together in villages and towns and all of that. So that's where the word civic is coming from, meaning the people, the citizens. Okay, so their living together required making laws. These laws were codified. So in the final analysis, when they reached the age when they could write, and document, then they decided to document the laws and then to put them together to constitute body of laws. So the Constitution is a body of sacred laws in the land that guide the people, that give them a sense of direction. So that's why I asked that question. And the Constitution, every nation, every modern nation has a constitution.
Right.
Because the Constitution is a sacred body of laws, it means that it must be held in respect and in esteem by all the citizens of the land. There's no exception. So in that process of requiring all citizens to show respect and love for the Constitution comes the concept of the rule of law, which states that no one is above the law. So to understand the Constitution is to be able to understand that you must respect the principles, the theoretical principles for the foundation of our country, which is recorded in the Constitution of Liberia. That's a holy book. It's like the Christians looking at the Bible, the Western Mohammedans looking at the Quran, the other people look at the whatever they call it, like that. That's what the Constitution is.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you breach the laws of the land? That process, the maintenance of law and order, and the observance of the Constitution of the nation comes along with the psychological concept of behavior modification and applied behavior analysis.
Okay.
So what the father did to chastise his son so that he knew that he was doing something wrong so that he didn't do it again, became a part of the codified laws that were established in the Constitution to help us live together in peace and harmony. But for us to live in peace and harmony, we must follow the law. Nobody is above the law. So whatever the law says should be done. If it's Gbaba, it must be done. If it's Jimmy Johnson, it must be done. If it's Joe Gbaba, it must be done.
Right.
You cannot bend the law.
And the beauty of it, Dr. Gbaba, is the people have come together themselves and say, let's have a constitution.
Yes.
So they are aware of all the ramifications of the law that they are putting together.
Okay, now the other aspect of civic education with respect to the Constitution is that the Constitution must be taught.
Yeah.
To the citizens. It's something like, you say you want to be a Christian. If you want to be a Christian, I got to teach you the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay? You are Liberian, you need to learn about the Constitution so you know your right, the so-called rights you're always talking about.
And Dr. Gbaba, let me read the Constitution, what it says about that. Article 10. The
Okay.
Republic of Liberia shall ensure the publication and dissemination of this Constitution throughout the Republic and the teaching of its principles and provisions in all institutions of learning in Liberia. So
You
what you
hear
are
that?
saying, you're correct.
Just 1 minute. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are discussing civic education. This is part 3. Our guest is Dr. Joe Gbaba. This is a collaboration between Deconti Artists Inc. and Focus on Liberia. The purpose is we want to have an informed and educated citizenry. And in order to do that, the people must be taught. And that education is provided through civic education. We're going to open the phone line very shortly so that you can come in and join the the conversation. For our topic tonight, under civic education, we are discussing the Constitution, the rule of law. What is the rule of law? Then franchise. What is franchise? What is it all about? The right to vote. What is it? Then platform. You often hear that when people are running for elected position, they have a platform. What is it that you want to do? And then concede or concession. After concession is protest. So all these things will be explained tonight, and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to invite you to be a part of the conversation.
Okay.
I like how somebody described the Constitution. He said it's like if you got a new cell phone, that cell phone comes with a manual.
Yes, it does.
And you know how to operate the cell phone. It will tell you if you do this to the cell phone, it's going to spoil. If you do this, you're going to place a call.
Right.
So everything is contained in the manual. So for a country, we have a manual, and that manual is the Constitution. Back to you, Dr. Gbaba.
Thank you. With respect to the Constitution, there are requirements for citizenship. Not because I'm born in Liberia. Okay, you're born in Liberia. What are you doing to develop Liberia? That's very important, and it also gives you the information you need to stand up for your rights. The Constitution, because all the things that, because before the Constitution was made, before man began to codify laws and all of that, they went through a lot of different things. They went through wars, they went through civil conflict, and as they went on, they developed techniques, as I was saying about behavioral modification techniques. So in the Constitution is inserted the principles of applied behavior analysis, and that is to keep everybody in check, because when people from different backgrounds live together, there will always be misunderstanding, miscommunication. You speaking Pele, I speaking Crown, the other person speaking Mandingo, Jazz speaking Grebo, like that. The other person speaking Kru, other person speaking Congo, Creole. So it's very important that there be rules and regulations, which is the Constitution, because it's a body of laws, of rules and regulations that will help people to stay within the confines of their territorial confines. Mm-hmm. Every person in the nation is entitled to his space. Is entitled to his privacy. Don't go poking in somebody's private business. Right. To cause confusion.
And so
that person has his or her rights.
If you did that, the Constitution prescribes penalties.
Exactly, penalties. Now, let me tell you about this now. So, with respect to the behavior modification technique and principles, there are 3 words that are very important that I want for the Liberian people to understand, because every time I say punish, but you know what punish means. Punish, yes, punish, you do give somebody hard work or whatever it is to do, but that's not an issue. The psychological effect that it creates when you punish is what you need to understand. So the word punishment is a word that that describes the application of a behavior modification technique that helps to reduce an undesirable behavior. To reduce the undesirable behavior. So, for instance, your child gets up and he slaps you, and is that an acceptable behavior for your child to come and slap you, Ja?
No.
No, it's not an acceptable social behavior. So what would you do to your child so that he doesn't do it again?
You punish the child.
No, I'm not saying punish. Well, you gotta describe an action, because you know the punishment gotta be an action that you take.
Right. So it can be any other punishment that is necessary.
What action? You gotta describe the action.
I just did.
No, you didn't.
Punishment.
Or you could say I will slap him, or I will put him in the corner, or he will pump tire. That's how you describe actions. Okay? You don't describe actions like poetically. No, it doesn't work in behavior modification, because we want to do something to the child, to let the child know that what he did was wrong.
Right.
And people got different ways in which they do it for the child to remember that, oh, it looked like there's something. That's why my chew that I was supposed to be eating my chew 2 o'clock, and it looked like I will not eat until 6 o'clock. You see what I'm talking about?
Right.
Different things. Or some parents don't have the patience. If this child slap you, you slap him back too. Let him know what it is to slap. When he feel that hard slap, he will know. He will want a car. You see? So so the behavior modification thing is important. That's why it's in the Constitution. That's why the people who perpetrated this Liberian genocide, that's why they're scared of the Constitution. So that's why I asked the question. I said, is the Constitution alive or not? And you didn't answer me. You play Liberian politics on me.
Yeah, because I don't want us to go there. I want us to explain to the people what these things mean, and then they can make the determination whether these things are active or not.
Okay, that's very good too. I appreciate that. I accept that.
All right. So in the Constitution, you talk about the behavior modification, meaning that undesirable behavior will be discouraged through different forms of punishment.
Yeah, punishment. That's what punishment means. So punishment, you're not punishing the individual. You are punishing the behavior. Right. Because so we talk about behavior modification. Yeah, we're not punishing your child, you know, but you're punishing the behavior, whatever you do to him, the consequence. You see, we're talking about consequences. That's what I said from the beginning, that the idea of the dispensation of justice on the basis of collective guilt is unconstitutional.
Yeah. Yeah. So when Constitution is broken, and it's supposed to be enforced to make sure that the person who broke the Constitution or who broke the law is punished. Okay, now
so the Constitution, the Constitution engages all 3 separate but equal branches of the government.
So what happens if it is not enforced?
If it's not enforced, then we gotta check the president. We gotta check what's going on there. What's going on executive.
Why president, when you just told me about 3 equal branches of government?
Yeah, because listen to the question that you asked. You say what happens if it's not executed? Okay. So I'm trying to say if it's not executed, then you go to the executive.
Okay, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. So you have a true one.
So that's the executory arm.
Yes.
That's supposed to make sure that this is enforced to the letter.
Exactly.
If that is not done,
then we made a law. The people who made a law like the legislature.
Right. So if that is not done, there's still a recourse. The people.
If it's not done, then in the Constitution tells you, say, oh, if the person that you give the responsibility to executing. If they can't execute it, then you can impeach him.
Yeah.
Then an impeachment, and you coming to our Peking, and I'm making all that mad inside that building. That where the yo-yo is inside that building. That where the yo-yo is right now. They're holding up the freedom and justice of this country, including that TRC report that is there that they're not even looking at.
Okay, so the rule of law. Let's go to rule of law. I know you touched on it a little bit.
Yes. Rule of law. So rule of law, you see the Constitution, as I said, is a sacred body of laws. Yeah. So it was well weighed by great minds. You see, part of learning about the Constitution, you need to know who wrote the Constitution, the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Those things are important for you to, for Liberians to know. We talk about Samuel Greenleaf wrote, the Constitution, whatever. Is that the case? You need to know about Samuel Greenleaf. Who was he? What was his position? What was his status? And you will see that most of those people who were signatories to the Constitution were statesmen of high intellectual, inclination. So it's important, and that's how Liberia started, with people with great minds. Can you imagine in the early 19th century, free blacks coming and standing up and say, whatever it is, we will stand up and establish a nation on the continent of Africa. And despite all of the forces that they had against them from America, that they didn't even recognize Liberia until after, I don't know how many years before they did, So, most of the people don't know the great things that Great Britain has done for Liberia.
Yeah, I want us to go back to the rule of law.
So the rule of law, ensures that you cannot pick and choose. You take it, John Gazette, and putting him to jail for stealing a piece of cookie. Then Tuawele comes and you let Tuawele go. Say, it's not right.
Right.
So the rule of law ensures that justice, equality, truths are the foundation of a nation. The Constitution is the foundation of a nation. If you then you go against that Constitution, you will go asunder. That's what's happening to us right now.
Right. But it happens that those who benefit when the rule of law is not applied, the same people are in charge of enforcing the rule of law. Where does that leave us, the ordinary people?
You see, this is where, because for me, I'm really preaching peace and reconciliation right now, because I know Liberia needs it. I won't come here and say, because those who are supposed to execute this and that, not executing it, so therefore the citizens should do this or should do that. That's not the issue. But the issue here is that the question you ask, if those who are supposed to do it don't do it, then you carry it to the house that's supposed to carry out that procedure, and they don't carry it out. You got the power. December 8th is coming.
Right.
Start running behind the people for bag of rice and stand up for your rights. RIGSTS. I'm not talking about rice. Go to Grand Chile, go to Sando, go to Nima, go to Lofa, go make a farm. You eat plenty of rice until you get tired.
Right. And one of the reasons why I asked that question is one of the responsibility is what we are doing tonight, because there is no way you're going to know those rights if you don't learn it.
No.
You are not listening to us right now.
So let me tell you now, there are stages. There are stages. Just a minute. The question you ask is important for people because they're listening. There are stages. Somebody decided to execute the law, and the law is not executed, and the performance of the person who's supposed to execute the law does not please you as a people. You have the right to take a petition to the legislature and ask that or impeachment proceeding take place. The question you ask, if the people that you're going to not even going to move as usual game and all of that, that's why I'm saying you got December 8th to use your power, your voting rights, the franchise. The franchise is part of the thing on the list. Your voting rights, that part of the Constitution. The Constitution provides that you as a citizen, when are of age from 18 up, you have the right to vote and to decide who you want. Yeah. Now, this aspect of it is important. Each of you has his or her right to vote for whomever you want to vote for. I got a right to vote for whomever I want to vote for. I got a right to identify with any political person, party, or whatever I want to identify with all you jumping at my throat. I say to say that your business. That's what the Constitution, that's what it spells that out. Most of the time people jump, they jump from their space to come to other people's space and want to claim what? You got no right to question anybody about why he voted for whomever or he or she wanted to vote for. It's part of the Constitution as well. So the rule of law is that you got nobody is above the law. If you commit any crime, you must be brought to justice. And this is where it comes to where we are. That's why we're stuck. We are stuck because a mandate has been given to the members of the legislature. And I gave an example before on the focus on Liberia about what happened in 1930 with the people in the legislature. Our sitting president was accused, and when they brought the information before them, they acted upon it. They were not making $30,000 a month, but they were patriotic, and they stood up. And today we got Liberia. And those things about forced labor and taking people and sending them to different countries is stopped because the Constitution was executed. And those who made the laws stood up by the laws that they made. Some of you make laws, you don't even stand up by your laws. So now you make the law where people say, who made the law? Say, me, I ain't what they thought I want level.
And Dr. Gbaba, you know what? Some excuse that I often hear people say, they say politics is of interest. So it means, and that interest sometimes means doing something wrong because that's your interest. Yeah,
that's the sad part about politics, You see, for me, I'm not a politician. I'm an educator and a humanitarian. I got feelings for people.
Somebody hearing you saying that will say, oh, Joe Gbaba not politician.
No, the thing about it is that I just love my Liberian people, and they love me too because we know each other. We've been in this thing here for a long time.
I know you bet.
Long time. For the time I was small.
So on our list here, we have franchise and we have the right to vote. What's the difference?
In communication, well, you want to use the best term that 5 million people will understand, and to use a term that only 50 people will understand.
Okay.
So instead of saying franchise, I can't speak French. Franchise, I can say right to vote.
Right.
And the person in the village will understand it. Okay? But that right to vote comes with responsibilities.
Yeah.
It comes with responsibility. There are two candidates. Let me give you an example. There are two candidates, right? There's Gbaba and then Mugro. Jigros policies or whatever Jigro wants to initiate don't suit my needs.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to buy a gunboat or to ride up and down on the river. And I'm thinking about the children that we got in the village that need to go to school. So Douglas, got that policy that we will build school for the children. I got it right to decide that because I want my children to go to school, I will be behind Douglas, and you ain't got no business.
Yeah.
You can't keep speech from me.
I know. And that leads us to the next thing, which is platform, because that what Douglas is telling you is contained in his platform.
Yeah, exactly. So because we all have interests, as you said, interest. So my interest will be with Douglas because of his platform. So now what the Liberian voters need to understand is that when someone comes before you and says, and gives you a bag of rice for you to vote for them, you need to ask the person, what are you going to do for me, for my people, that you want my vote? That vote is like a piece of gold.
Yeah.
My people, there's a piece of gold. Those people that are living in their gated fences, have rices or whatever it is, when it comes time to vote or December 8th, those people will come crawling to you. Right. Crawling to you. Chopper.
Right, but I was watching TV right now, and I heard the people behind woman, yoli yo, the Baba we want, yoli yo. So if the people singing that kind of song, what do you tell them? They say, I don't want your platform, I don't want to hear it. The Baba we want.
Yeah, you see, so it's good that you brought that up, because now this is where the issue is. So Jiglo and Dublo. But Dublo ain't got nothing to give me to eat because I'm hungry right now. Okay? But Dublo, he got his policy not good for me, but he come to give me back a rice, he come to give me the change, pocket change, and all of that. So now this is my appeal to Liberian voters. You cannot have your cake and eat it.
The cake finish.
Yeah, if you want development, my people, I ain't say when the people bring a bag of rice and thing to you, you shouldn't eat it. But I beg you when you go to vote, because you see that's they call it secret ballot. Nobody's supposed to know who you voted for unless you check police and you tell, oh, I voted for that person, I voted for that person, then they live with you. When everybody starts keeping speech from you, that you don't want to cause it yourself. No. Because you're not supposed to tell your mommy who you voted for. That's part of the law. That's part of the Constitution. That's why they call it secret ballot.
Yeah, it's not like hair count where we used to stand behind the seat.
No. So they bring the bag of rice, they eat that bag of rice, say, oh, thank you, so and so thing, I wish you good luck. This is our time you vote for your double because you want school. Because it's in the counting of the ballots that the decision will be made for the school to be built. So that ballot that you take and you give it to the man because he gave you a bag of rice, after the bag of rice finishes, your children will still be sitting down, they won't go to school. Because he didn't promise you, say you're going to build school for your children.
And what somebody told me is, this is a transaction, right? I come to you, I give you back a right, you give me vote.
Yes.
Business is over.
Yeah.
So if I'm there now as your lawmaker or as your president, what do I have to do? Because we transacted a business, we exchange goods and services.
And then they put the citizens in a bad position, in a guilty position. You ate something from me. Then you coming to me now you coming to me, you can't tell what. Exactly. You forgot what, give the bag of rice when you are taking it and jumping up.
I finish paying you, so what else you want?
Yes. So that's why they treat you the way they treat you. They're not supposed to treat you like that. You must respect your dignity. This is where you got to stand up for justice. If you gotta eat dry rice, you gotta eat the dry rice so that good things will come tomorrow by putting in the right people.
But here's the thing now. To make that decision, it doesn't come from the vacuum, right?
No,
For somebody to make that decision, that person must be taught.
exactly.
The people responsible for teaching, they will not teach you because they feel that when you know, you're going to be so smart for them.
Man, you boy, you got to think. I know what to do. Say, I will keep white chicken for you to drink your pepper soup, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. On the buy soon. That's how our ancestors used to do that. Our ancestors were rich and they were proud people. They used to like to make name. So you go somewhere, somebody does something, so you say, I can't cow.
Right.
Then you face your head that kind of way, you get in the spirit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia Civic Education with Dr.
They
Joe.
are blue. They are blue.
Yeah, he's very animated. And don't forget now, he's a playwright. His first degree was in theater art, right, Joe?
The people deserve it, People deserve to hear the truth and they deserve to hear good literature.
Yeah.
Good education. That's
So
what we're talking about.
The platform, you put it forward, you have Jugla and Dukla. So we Jugla win Dukla.
Yeah.
And then we have our next word say concede. And concede is not only election. Anytime you concede in different, so tell us the different areas where people should, well, first, what is concession and where do we concede?
Okay. Now, you see, the people, I told you before, I said people who established the nation, they were wise people. So they thought about different things that happen. So they say, okay, Jugla and Dugla come to come to compete. If somebody wins, somebody got to win. Yeah. So if somebody win, and so what? So there will be confusion. Jugla will say, no, you win, you cheated me. And Dugla will say, no, you win, you cheated me. So how do we resolve it? Then they came up with an idea, say, you know what? We gotta be sportsman-like. We gotta be statesman-like. What does that mean to be sportsman? Because somebody like me, I used to play Tao before, So
you don't look like him.
Oh man, please, man, you like to start trouble. I used to play Tao before. They used to call me Michael Hen. They used to call me Sumuyaya in Zwedru. I used to man the goat. I used to take chairs, sit in the goal and man the goal. Ask Joker. Joker then will tell you. Sakpa then they will tell you I used to be a goalkeeper.
Okay.
Oh, what happened now? Because I didn't wear I jersey.
When somebody say he's a drummer, he's a dancer, don't argue with them. Just call a drummer.
So now what are we talking?
Concession.
So to be sportsman-like, as I said, you on the field and somebody kick you, man. It's hurting you, but you want the game to go on. And as a sportsman, you gotta show that you brave, that you didn't feel it, or whatever it is, and that you will let the game go on so that the whole match can be successful. So when you talk about concession, those are things that we talk about give and take. Give and take. So that even though Jugla won, but Jugla didn't win, it doesn't mean that Jugla cannot give Jugla something to do in it so that everybody can come together to work together. Yeah. That's concession. The concession it means that and it goes to all those who are competing. All of you who are competing to be senators, that want to be senators, it goes to you when it comes to concession. You need to understand that Liberia is the main thing that we're fighting for, not for you to be senator. To be senator is something that when you become senator, so you can work for Liberia. So you will prioritize Liberia so that when you don't even win, that you will understand that Liberia has to go on. Liberia cannot come to a standstill because you didn't win election.
Yeah.
That's concession. Concession urges participants, contestants to understand that it is not about you, but it is about the country and the people in the society. It's a democratic society. It's ruled by the people. It's not about you as an individual. So whatever you can do to be a spokesman, whatever you can do to be a statesman, to say, well, okay, I understand you got a right to contest, to protest. You got a right to do that. All those are part of the Constitution still. Constitution is so elaborate, it addresses every little thing that takes place in our lives. So it's self-sufficient. We don't need to go outside of it to go to the other constitution that is active in Liberia now. They let bygone be bygone constitution. That's not the one that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 1986 constitution of the second republic. That's what I'm talking about. And there's nothing inside that book that said let bygone be bygone after somebody finished slaughtering 250,000 people.
There's another constitution that says we are all related.
well, that other constitution, let's just stay on freeze right now. Right now, we're talking about the Constitution of Liberia. So the idea of concession, I'm appealing to all those who are going to contest.
Right.
Now, please remember that Liberia is about Liberia, not about your individual selves.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do when the final decisions are made, we don't want no hala.
It's true.
No post-election hala. Please.
You can protest. Is your right. You can
yes, you can protest and stay within the confines.
Yeah.
And also part of the concession means that you will educate your followers.
Yeah.
And you will advise them to behave. Because those circumstances are very volatile. They're very, 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 very volatile. So it's very important that you calm your people down so that the law enforcement agencies will not feel overwhelmed.
Right.
Because we already don't have all of the facilities for them to do whatever it is. They're not being paid enough or regularly or whatever it is. So they too got their own personal problems.
Right. And let me bring you another angle of concession, because every day, even before elections, ideas compete.
Yes.
People argue.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you should see reason. And let's say even on the same party, if your ideas are not taken, let's say if you had a suggestion and that suggestion is not taken, and we go to the other person's suggestion, concede and support that person because the majority in that group came up with that idea.
Exactly. So that's it. That's a consensus building.
Yeah.
That's consensus building. Consensus building also coincides with concession, because as you said, I may have an idea, but it is not well polished.
Yeah.
But your idea seems to be more polished, but you just need a little piece from mine to add to it so that it will be one. So therefore, we merge our support, our ideas, and go for it, reaching a central point, a midpoint that would be appropriate for you, that would be appropriate for me. You see, it's consensus building.
One reason why the politics now is so cantankerous is because you are opposition and government, or vice versa. So it means
that thing. That's another thing I want to appeal to people to understand. You know, because if you understand civic education, it tells you that the government is yours.
Yeah.
It is your government. And most times, you know, people defeat themselves and say, the government. Whose government?
If you're not from that party, then it's not your government. Until your
No,
party
you're
comes
not
to power.
repeating that. It's your government. Whether your party wins or not, it's your government. And then also it's another thing in the Constitution too. Let me let you guys know. They got time to campaign. After the election results are announced and the winners are announced, campaign is over.
Yes.
It's closed. This is where the leader who doesn't win must concede and tell his followers, look, let me tell you something. Let's try another time. We may do better than today.
Yeah.
He gotta give the person encouragement and not incite the people to be violent, to cause confusion, protests and riots and all of that.
So after election, you can protest.
Yes.
Before election, you contest the election.
Just a minute, let me get some.
Protest, ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing against civic education. Our goal here is before any major event in Liberia, our people should know what they're doing. So for election that is coming up in December 2020 and also the referendum, it is very important that voters be taught. The goal here is we want to have an informed and educated citizenry. If we have that, things will go much more smoothly in our country. We discussed today civic education. We talked briefly about the Constitution, which is the organic laws of the country. And we have the rule of law. That's what we go by. We must live under rules and laws. Then we have franchise or the right to vote. Every citizen, you have the right to vote. And Dr. Gbaba said your vote is like gold in your hand. So don't waste it.
Yes, it is like gold.
Every contestant has a platform.
Yes.
Across their platform, it is your choice to choose what will benefit you based on their platform. Sometimes they give you a bag of rice today. Dr. Gbaba said you can eat it and still vote right.
Yes. They definitely eat it.
When election is over, please, if you don't win, there always got to be winner and loser. So you can concede. Let's have concession. And even we should concede in our everyday political arguments.
Yeah.
So that one idea will be up, whether you are on my side or not, you should find reason. But it doesn't mean because you concede, it doesn't mean you can challenge the result. If you are not satisfied, yes, you can challenge it. You can take your appeal to the Election Commission, even all the way to the Supreme Court. It's your right. That leads us to our final thing tonight, which is riots.
Oh, riots.
Riots, resistance, the use of force. What are the laws that voters should observe when it comes to riots? And who is responsible for what, Dr. Gbaba?
Well, first of all, there shouldn't be any riots. Riots
are between riots and protests before we go ahead.
Yeah, okay, now you see that's different. Okay. So with respect to protest, you have a right to question the procedure that took place that led to the decision that was made. If you feel that some foul play took place.
And you are aggrieved.
Yes. You have a right. And from what I was reading from the bill, they had said that you could do that within 30 days. They will hear from you. But the new proposal is saying that 15 days. So if you file in your complaint, you know, you will get a response, an official response from the commission in 15 days. You know, previously it was 30. They say 15 days. Then also, Dennis, while we are at this stage, it's important for us to let the listeners and viewers know that we just obtained, you know, the updated information from the website, the NEC website regarding the national referendum and the voting for the senatorial candidates. And that will be December 8th. Both the referendum and the election will take place the same day, not separately. You know, and I think that the NEC should begin to publicize that, to let people know, because the pamphlet that was circulated, you know, the information is not correct right now. They did an update and they never followed through to print another an updated brochure or bulletin regarding the election schedule. So everyone needs to know about it. I know I talked to Emmanuel Wetty and I invited him to come up here on the show tonight. So I hope he's going to come on the show.
Right, and there's a comment to that. Anthony Gay said that there are a lot of things on the referendum for the special senatorial election. The referendum needs to be published. But by and large, what he's saying is a lot of things on the referendum that are going to change the Constitution. And, you know, nobody teaching about good for us. Here at FOL, we are bringing a big senator from Liberia who himself participated in doing this referendum to explain to us. Right?
Oh, that would be great. I would like to be on that day.
Yeah, that would be Councilor. We are finalizing discussion with Councilor Vani Sherman. Is not small potato.
Oh, that's great. I would love to hear what Vani got to say.
You will come right here on Focus on Liberia and explain the referendum, what you need to do.
And in fact, you know, excuse me, while you're talking about Senator Vani Sherman, I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to him and his colleagues in the Senate for the decision that they made regarding the chairmanship of the National Election Commission. I want to say thank you very much. That was very patriotic and they kept things under control. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, because the referendum is, in my view, is even more important than the senatorial election. But who's going to tell us? Nobody is doing that.
This is
educating people on the referendum, because every politician is about, I mean, who will leave their own campaign and go talk about referendum?
Yeah, but listen now, John. You know, you asked some questions before. If things are supposed to be executed and they're not executed, then who's responsible? You see. So now, which branch of government does that fall in? Does it fall in the executive? Does it fall in the legislative? Does it fall in the judiciary? Which branch of government does that fall in?
Election to execute.
Okay. Because the legislators have already made their schedule. They've already deliberated the proposals to be voted upon during the referendum, right? So they did their job. Now, okay, now within the executive, we don't expect the president to be the one to do the information part about it, but he got somebody who is a minister for information.
Right.
So what is that ministry doing? If the ministry is not doing something, that is the responsibility of the executive to execute orders for it to be done. If it's not done, they're not able to do it, to replace the person.
Right.
They're not anybody farm.
And maybe they can pass that budget to Focus on Liberia, so we'll do it. Because
yeah, I mean, that's what I meant earlier when I said let us cooperate.
Yeah.
You see, let us work together. So you don't try to ostracize people who got expertise that the country can benefit from at this crucial time, simply because you want to protect your job, or because you got certain people that you want to give contracts to, or whatever it is. It doesn't help the country. And the reason why I'm stressing this is because if the people are not properly educated, any kind of result that comes, all the people will be very ignorant and will react ignorantly. And it will be a lot of problems. It will be more problems than if you embrace people like us, for us to work together to properly educate the people before that time.
Yep.
The place is very, very polarized.
And
Every day there's so much riot and confusion in Liberia.
Yeah,
That's not good.
Thank you so much for accepting to be here to do this. So before we come to that question of riots and protests, the difference before we go into riots, relating to the referendum, there is a group here called the Grassroots Alternative Movement. They are calling for the postponement of the referendum 2020. Why? Because they say the citizens are not educated on it.
Ooh. So who did they tell now? Whom have they informed about that? Did they tell the president? Did they tell the legislature?
They wrote a letter to the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
So what's happening Saturday at 7 p.m., we're going to bring them right here. So I will ask them.
Okay.
Why they are making that kind of bold, demand to say, postpone this.
Well, excuse me. The description you gave, it's not just only that it's bold. You mean why they're making that patriotic demand?
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm talking about? Not bold. I said they're not supposed to.
No, bold.
They got it right. You see what I mean? But it's patriotic that they're doing that because the people need to be informed. You're not going to impose anything on people like that here. Broad daylight.
They wrote the legislators. They say, well, the first time we did a referendum, they gave a very beautiful statistics.
Yeah.
People did not. I think maybe less than third of the population actually voted for the referendum because they don't know what that is.
No.
So they never voted for it. And you must reach certain threshold for a referendum to pass.
And then the thing about it is that it's also it's unconstitutional for you not to inform the people about holding a referendum during which you want to amend certain parts of the Constitution. The Constitution is already a sacred body of laws that you're not supposed to tamper with. If you want to tamper with it, if you want to change anything on the Constitution, then you must have a referendum. To have that referendum, you must inform all voters.
Exactly.
All voters must know, must be aware and know what they're going to be doing before you hold the rest of referendum. Because if you don't do it, it will be a big confusion.
It will be a flop because referendum is not Zobush.
No.
Referendum is not Kuku Jumuku.
No.
So our guys at the back room, please put that flyer on the screen about the exclusive interview we are having with the officials of the Grassroots Alternative Movement. They are calling for the postponement of referendum 2020. So let's go to riots. So first, distinguish from protests and what is riot? What are the laws that voters should observe, and who's responsible?
Okay, now so mainly you want to stop at protests.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you want to stop at protests because during the protest is where you present your dissent.
Yeah.
Okay, you must present your dissent peacefully because the Constitution requires that we assemble peaceably.
Yeah.
No violence, no riot. So we're still within the confines of the Constitution.
So if you get on the street, is that peaceful? Let's say you are on the street where the car is supposed to pass, but because you're so plenty, so you are on the street. Is that a peaceful protest?
Whether it's a peaceful protest or not will depend on how the people who are in the vehicles, whether they park, driving on the side, and the people that are walking, in the street protesting, gave way so that there's no intrusion of the traffic. That's one way. But in order for you to even do a protest, you must go through the process of requesting for a permit. Okay? You must, because we want to be legal. You don't intend to create violence. So because you don't intend to create violence, you must obey the law and go through the process that will permit you officially to launch your protest so that you can even use certain routes that will be designated by the security for you to use it. So you need a cooperation of the government to do that, to exercise your constitutional right to protest. Okay, so you must, whatever you do, you must remain within the confines of the law, of the Constitution. Now, talking about riots are unacceptable. Okay, let me be sincere with you. Riots are unacceptable.
They are disorderly, or why?
Yeah, they're disorderly. They're disorderly, and they are violent. They end up being violent. Okay, so democracy, the practice of the principles of democracy prohibits violence.
Okay.
Okay, the principles of democracy require the use of the law to explain yourself, the use of the law to seek redress. That's what we mean by rule of law as well. So there are no riots. Now, to prevent the riots, this is where, as I said, the leaders, the aspirants, the candidates must educate their followers.
Okay, let me read what is on the screen now. It's about the interview that is coming on Saturday. This is exclusive. Why is the grassroots alternative movement calling for the postponement of the referendum 2020? So that's what we're going to be discussing. The guest will be Josiah F. Jokai, who's the chairman of the USA branch. Dr. Emmanuel Ure is the chairman of the Liberia branch. And Larama Yonton, his colleagues call him Comrade Larama Yonton. He's the communication director of the movement. So they will be right here on Focus on Liberia so we can discuss it. You don't want to miss that because Dr. Gbaba called that move patriotic.
Yes, it is.
I want to hear more of that.
Yes, it's patriotic. It's not just bold, but it's patriotic.
My question here is, when we were in junior high, where we used to speak the big book, we used to say, when gentility fails, brutality takes over. So people do a protest, and now they are not adhered to. Does it not make sense that they can step it up to riot? Because
they're not supposed to step it up to riot.
It's not being adhered to.
Yeah, that's what they have the word redress. You submitted a protest, petition or whatever it is. So now, and the Constitution provides time for response. They say 15 days. So you're not going to do any other thing after you submit your paperwork, the protest. You're not going to do anything. You wait for the 15 days for the government to respond. The agency, the Elections Commission, to respond to your queries. Okay? Then the Constitution still provides that if you're not pleased with what they tell you, you can pursue it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So these legal processes and procedures must be, followed to the letter before you even turn drunk to say you're going to do anything that you're not supposed to do.
Right. So normally in Africa, what we say is, in our system, the referee is also the player.
Oh, right.
Where the referee is the player, what are the next steps legally?
That's what we have international observers. It's so pathetic that these some of them international observers, by the time they come, they're already finished taking sides. Yeah. It's so corrupt, some of them. And you can see what happened with all that election that went on 2005 and the other one that went on 2010 or something like that.
Started even with 1997.
Yeah, I mean, 1997. My goodness, what's his name? Jimmy Carter disgraced himself. A former president of the United States of America, spearheading election, something with a rebel leader participating. Do they do that here in the Western world? With a rebel leader participating and came to declare or tell us the winner of the election.
Because they don't really look at us. And somebody asked me, I think a couple of years ago, they were asking me, when I told them from Liberia, I said, oh, okay, so you guys are, things are good now. There's no war and you have a female president. So I told them, I said, in your country, things good because you have president. Don't you talk about inflation? Don't you talk about unemployment? Don't you talk about healthcare? So
no, but what about the atrocities that took place before the person got to be president?
So I said, well, when it comes to Africa, you lower the bar so much that as long as we have peace, it's okay. So it's the same thing I'm talking about. That okay,
but
for
it's not peace. It's not peace. It's in grammar we say seeming. It's seemingly peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, PS like it's peaceful. That's what's going on. Because you see, that's the illusion that Liberians are living under right now. They think it's peaceful. They're behaving or pretending like it's so peaceful, but they're burning, they're dying in their hearts.
Yeah.
They're angry. All that, or what it is there, the thing that's going on, that angry outburst. You can see the outburst.
Yeah.
Anybody who is a social scientist like myself, you will realize that where we are right now as a people is a time bomb.
I'll give you an example. Yesterday we did a show because the Nobel laureate Lehman Bowie and the gender minister, they went back and forth, exchange of words, very harshly.
Look at that.
Yeah, because the Nobel laureate said, shame on you, because there were protests, people and they were tear gas. So he said, well, if you were not playing politics with your job, we wouldn't have been this far. Shame on you, you are playing politics and, use some very strong language. Mm-hmm. And the general minister came back and went very personal.
Oh, Lord.
So you could see there that just as you said, a lot of things inside that any little thing can just trigger and you can see bubbling over.
Yeah, and you see, another thing that I want to explain to the Liberian people is that they have a right, to demand the United Nations, because as for the African Union, they just there, to demand ECOWAS. But ECOWAS has done so much anyway for us, but the United Nations is the one that messed this whole thing up. Now, I will give the Liberian people a typical example. The way how the League of Nations behaved in 1930. When they accused King of whatever happened, and we were going through the investigation, the League of Nations and the commission that was established, they requested information from the government of Liberia, and they didn't want to cooperate. The president of the United States cut off diplomatic relationship with Liberia to force Liberia to cooperate. They had these kinds of injustices that are going on for a prolonged period of time require international pressure to take care of those people who are in the country who are doing the things they're not supposed to do, like the way George Bush did with Charles Taylor.
Yeah, good. Dr. Gbaba, we're almost out of time. There's a question here from Anthony Gacy. Can a request to protest be rejected? What would be the grounds for rejection?
The request to protest,
peacefully,
to be rejected by the decision makers.
Yeah, the authorities.
The authorities are not. This also is very important. When your party, because they just think it's the party, they think the country is the party. People don't know the differentiation. As I said, when the elections are over, like for instance, when we had the last election and it was over, and George Weah was declared president of Liberia. Yeah. George Weah, from that time onward, is not the CDC president or whatever it is. He is the president of the Republic of Liberia. That everybody George Weah. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if George Weah does not perform his duty as president of the Republic of Liberia as per the Constitution, as per the stipulations within the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, the same Constitution got stipulations that the House can engineer or impeachment proceeding against the president of Liberia, not CDC. They're not CDC. And people should stop saying that the government is CDC government. It is not CDC government. It's the CDC won the election, but the government is the government of the Republic of Liberia, not CDC.
You come into the question because we're almost out of time.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that those who are in authority should respect all Liberians.
Good. Okay.
If they have grievances, they should listen to them. They should not refuse to do it, because refusing can fuel another. That's when it fuels riot now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's when you can come to riots. So riot is not something that you just come to at the spur of a moment. It's something that is the last resort.
Yeah. And AB DJ Blanco Carles said riots are not instituted by peaceful protesters. Throughout history, if I can recall, government forces always engaged in manhandling of citizens, and the end result always turned into riots. In other words, he said the intention is always peaceful, is the reaction from the authorities that.
That's what I just said. That's what I said. So those who are in authority, as I said, should not look at the citizens as enemies of the party.
Yeah.
These citizens are people who are paying taxes for the government to be in existence. So they have a right to request for audience. They have a right to submit their grievances and for the grievances to be respected and heard. So it's important. So if you are like that, this is where that surprises me, Dennis. People are in power, and I come, as a citizen, private citizen, I come and say, okay, we are, I see that, while the government is busy doing other things, decorative artists here can help to promote peace and reconciliation in the country. I don't expect the government or the Minister of Information to say, oh no, we can't work with you. Then what kind of a government are you? You don't want peace? If things that you're not doing, ordinary citizens want to do it, wouldn't you be the one to facilitate it and say, oh, well, Dr. Gbaba, you got place and thing. Please, let's put them on AirBC. Let's put them on Air TV to entertain the people. That's what people who are in power, that's what you do to your resources, your human resources that you have.
Yeah. Well,
you don't antagonize them. So that's why you're not getting some of the things you're supposed to get to boost the administration. You're narrowing the administration to a political party. The government is the government of the Republic of Liberia. The head of your party, the partisan, center bearer of your party happens to be the president of the Republic of Liberia, not the standard bearer. He's not in that role as standard bearer. So that's why usually when a party is leading, you will have somebody else that will proxy, for the president, in his party, so that he can do the duty of the nation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gbaba.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate you. Want to thank all our viewers who are with us. Next week, we're going to continue. And this time, we're going to be talking about security, the respect for constituted authorities. When police arrive on the scene during a disorderly conduct or a disorderly behavior, what do you need to do?
Yeah.
keep your dial right here on Focus on Liberia, where we elevate, we educate, and promote all things Liberia. Doc, we want to again say thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. And I want to thank all those who are listening. And, I don't know what's wrong with your phone. I think that people should talk. People should talk so we hear what's on their mind.
Yeah.
Reading the thing to me, it doesn't mean anything to me. That anybody who wants to express themselves, let them come. Let them express themselves.
And we don't stop them from expressing themselves. If they
No,
don't
no, I'm saying that the voices, when the people talk, it's good for people to hear what the people say. People must talk. That hypocrisy where people stand behind the corner and they throw stones is not supposed to happen when I'm on this thing yet. When I'm on the thing that people want to say, let them say it. I myself have something to say too.
Definitely. And we are.
Yes, so the next time, let them pick up the phone and call. Let them talk.
So people, please always pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah, sure. It's important. We all got to talk together. That's what the civic education is all about. It's about togetherness and speaking with one voice. You can't be my voice and I can't hear other people talking. It's like, who am I talking to?
Right. Dr. Gbaba, if they don't talk, what else can we do? We encourage them to talk, but...
No, I'm just saying, I'm saying that it's good to hear voices.
Exactly.
Yes.
But, so that's how we want to end it tonight. We want to appreciate all of you for tuning in, giving your comments, and also being there with us. We still have a lot of shows for you. This Saturday, we're going to be discussing on our business and economic forum, that's the Everywhere Marketplace. We're going to be doing the numbers. What are some of the numbers if we talk about the growth rate, inflation rate, or interest rate, tax rate, all these different numbers? We're going to crunch those numbers. We're going to tell people how we got here and how we can get out of it. So keep tuned. On Sunday, we're going to have a debate on the referendum 2020. There's someone who said they should vote no to all of them. Somebody said not so fast. So we're going to bring two of them here to debate, especially on dual citizenship. Someone said vote no to the referendum because of XYZ reason. The other person said vote yes. You're going to be right here on Focus on Liberia to debate. So keep it right here on Focus on Liberia. We'll keep educating, elevating, and promoting all things Liberia. Until then, from me to you, my name is Dennis Jah, wishing you good night and God bless you. Don't forget, COVID-19 is still out there. Do all you can to protect yourself and protect others. Bye-bye for now. God bless.
We all love you.